This is episode 10 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode, we sit down with my buddy Kevin Doyle and we talk hunting. This podcast is brought to you by Kafaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Frontiersman gear, high quality, completely custom handmade knives made at the heart of the Peace Country. And as always, we're brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
The way the dude answered was just like super smarmy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't really understand that in hunting. There's it's one of those things where, like, if you want to be an elitist in something, hunting is not the thing, because you need all of your I don't know the word, all of your peers, all of your fellow hunters. You need them all to be pushing towards the same goal, and that's to keep hunting a thing. Keep like this. Like, unfortunately, we're the minority, right? And there's a lot of people that don't want or don't understand hunting and don't want it to exist, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it's crazy. Like, and like the community, like, you go, well, you're on a lot of those Facebook pages too, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, you'll get a new guy on there that posts like a basic question and just like something that, like, it's just an innocent question, couldn't find it in the regs or whatever. And then people just love to jump on that shit and just shit on people. It's ridiculous. It's just like, okay, maybe the guy didn't check the regs or didn't think about that, but like, just give him a simple, honest answer and be like, okay, and move on with your day. Like, you don't have to shit on him and make him feel like he's the biggest idiot on the planet for asking a question. Like,
there's no need for that. And I mean, it doesn't help elevate the community, and it doesn't help. It's like we always have these conversations in our private group chats about, like, these hypothetical situations that come up. And my thing is always like, you want to just put your best foot forward, like, you see some of these things that get posted on Instagram and you're like, I don't want anybody to see this outside of hunting, because it's not a good look, and it's going to hurt hunting. And then to take it one step further and turn that inward inside your own community, it's like, I don't get it. I don't get why you would cannibalize your own passion,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Well, yeah, like you got real fired up about that dude chasing antelope down in the States, right?
I wasn't so fired up with the actual act of it. I was more fired up about the dude with over 1 million followers who was publicizing it and being like, "Oh, this is great. He's an ultra marathon runner." It's like, yo, man, look. If you go to anybody on the street and are like, "Hey, how do you feel about some asshole in his Nikes running down a antelope until he's so exhausted he can't run anymore?" And yes, I get it. It's there's that's a method of take that they use in Africa. I understand, but it's like, optically, it's doing harm to hunting. It's not helping hunting. It's only going to hurt it. So why blast it all over the internet when you're the face of hunting right now?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And it's real tough. There's so many things out there now that, like, it just shines such a poor light on the community now. And like, there's been, I mean, we don't need to go into great detail, but there's been so many videos that I've seen where it's just like, man, that's great for hunting. Awesome. Thanks for posting that. Like, this is only going to get shared like 1 million times now, and people are going to lose their minds. Right? Yeah.
It's when people don't understand it too. It's one of those things, man, that, like, you can try to explain it until you're blue in the face to people, but some people are just unwilling to understand your perspective. And it's really easy to alienate those people even further. And then they end up going to bat with, like, all of these, like, kind of weird animal rights people that are like, they're going through the McDonald's drive-thru eating their McNuggets, but at the same time they have an issue with hunters. It's like, what? This makes no sense. No sense. There's not a more ethical way to get your food if you're a meat eater than hunting. So
no, yeah, absolutely. No. And I tend to find that I do pretty good when it comes to like argue with that. I don't want to call it an argument, just discussion, because I've had it several times throughout my hunting career, or whatever you want to call it. And more often than not, you tend to get, I have been able to get people to kind of understand like the perspective that we look at it from.
Yeah.
And when it's explained to them in the way that we see it, and most hunters, a lot of people have that moment, right? Like, okay, now I get it. And, pretty well, all of them still, well, it's not something that I would do. And I think, great, power to you. That's totally fine, right?
If everybody hunted, we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the great thing about living where we live, is you have that choice, right? You have the choice to do whatever you want or you don't want to do. Right. Mm-hmm. And like being able to sit down with someone and actually have like an adult conversation about this stuff, and actually like get them to understand like why we do what we do. And it's not like about bloodthirst or anything like that. It's just, I'm going out there, and like 99% of it is I just want to be out in the bush, man. I just want to be out in the woods. Yeah. If I manage to harvest something and bring home some meat for the family, great. Awesome. It's a huge bonus. Yeah. But like just to be out there with your buddies or your family or whoever you hunt with, or even just by yourself, right? Like that's what it's all about. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, enjoying the wilderness and where we live. And I mean, there's not a better way to spend your time, in my opinion.
No, especially living where we live. I mean,
I just did a podcast with, last night I recorded it with Tanner from, Frontiersman Gear. And we were saying the same thing. It's like hunting alone. It gives you such opportunity for like introspective work and like enjoying your surroundings and feeling thankful for being able to be out there and just kind of enjoy, and it's like, it's not as much about filling the freezer sometimes. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like that's my end goal. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes it's, I like going out in the off season too, it's like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to have
like
a goal,
I said, like I was saying, right. Like we're so lucky to live where we live. Like it's such a beautiful province. And, living, like I live in White Rock, and like I'm pretty well smack between downtown Vancouver and, Chilliwack out towards you guys. Yeah. And, I could drive a couple hours and be on a mountain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's
be
awesome.
Up on, I can go either way. I could be up on Whistler in 2 hours, and I can be out in Hope up or in that area. It's
no, we're
really lucky to live where we live and have the access to the country that we have.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. So, I mean, that's probably a good segue. You didn't always live down there, and you weren't always a city boy. So
that's a true story.
So my understanding is you grew up in the interior, and you guys were raised on wild game.
Yeah. Grew up little town. I don't mind talking about where naming it exactly. Not a big secret.
Sure.
30 Mile House, BC. Man, I lived there until I was, I think I was 13 or 14 when we moved.
Cool.
Well, basically moved down here in grade 9. So yeah, like 14. And man, yeah, like living up there and living down here, a completely different ballgame. You want to talk about, a complete change of scenery, a complete change in the way things are done. It's pretty wild for a kid at 14.
So hunting was kind of handed down to you through your family, right? Your grandfather was a hunter, and so was your dad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really lucky growing up. I had a ton of mentors around me as far as, being uh, a woodsman or, being out in the bush. And it's yeah, I was real lucky. I had my dad, my grandpa, a couple uncles, and then just a ton of other family, like cousins and stuff like that lived up in the area too. And yeah, like it was just part of life. It's just what you did, right? September rolled
Mhm.
around, and it was youth season, and then so Dad had to get me out for the youth season, and if that
Yeah.
if that didn't work out, then usually right after youth season it was any buck, right? And just basically once that time of year hit, you were in the woods until you cut that tag, and then at any
Yeah,
time,
that's great.
yeah. So like we grew up with. I don't think I had store bought meat until I was. Oh, I mean, like we had chicken and stuff like that, but I mean, I don't think we had like beef like consistently until I was probably 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, nice.
It was
So
always we just always had game in the freezer.
nice. So when did you cut your first big game tag then?
It actually took me of quite a few years for me to cut my first tag. It just never panned out. I'd either get real excited and just wouldn't, and I would blow the opportunity, or
Yeah.
it just wouldn't, just never panned out. So I think I was cut my first tag at 19. Believe it
Oh,
or
right on.
not. Yeah. So like it was actually well after I'd been living down in the city, and it was, like I said, it was one of those things where it just hadn't really panned out for me, and just hadn't got the opportunities. And but when it did happen, it was real quick and real exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Well,
Yeah, like,
why don't you tell us about that a bit?
well, we were sitting around camp at this point. At this time, I was hunting with two of my uncles and my one cousin, and I hunted with those guys for quite a few years. And it was just kind of weekend, but it was September. It was real hot during the day, so we go out for our morning hunts, and around 9, 10, it had heated up so much that it was just everything was tucked back in the bush and trying to stay out of the heat, right? So we go back to camp. We'd hang out around camp, kind of just spend the midday, like hottest hours of the day back at camp, just getting camp all sorted out and firewood cut, stuff like that. And around, as I want to say, it was probably around 3 or 4. I decided those guys didn't want to go out for the evening hunt, and I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to rip down the road and see what I see. And,
Yeah.
we were hunting or we were camped off of a pipeline, pipeline, and I just started walking down that road, and I got to this point where the road drops down into a big gully and then goes and climbs back up the other side. So sat down at the top of the hill, just kind of looked down into the valley. It looked like a nice little spot where something might feed out into it, and
Yep.
just parked myself on a stump and sitting there enjoying the evening air and minding my own business. And I literally turned, there's nothing there. I literally turned to grab my binoculars out of my bag, and when I turned back, there was two deer standing where I had just been looking. And
Nice.
just two little 2-point bucks. And man, you want to talk about excited.
Yeah,
shaking
no
like
kidding.
shaking like a leaf, and just like, this might happen. This might happen. And
Yeah.
chambered around, lined him up, and squeezed the trigger, and down he went.
Nice.
And
Cool.
so I remember trying to just to calm myself down to try and actually get a hold of my uncles. Just shaking so bad I didn't know what to do. I just remember just standing there, and I had to stop myself for a couple seconds, just sit, when you got to talk to yourself, right? Just,
Get
Kevin,
it together.
It's not that big of a deal. Calm down. You're like, you gotta go get somebody to help you. You can't do this on your own. let's go find somebody.
That's awesome.
And
Anybody?
yeah, just like that, man. First buck.
Cool, man. So that was your first year, and you've been in on a few since then.
Yeah, a few. I've been in on. Well, I was there for Big Skies. That was exciting for everybody. Everybody's real jacked up on that one. It was good to finally see him be able to pull the trigger on a legal animal. And
yeah, no kidding.
That first tag, man, everybody was hooting and hollering, having a riot. We were all real happy for him.
Yeah, and then you shot a real nice buck just after that.
Yeah, the biggest shot the biggest buck of my life, and man, I got all the. I can't say thank you enough to Hart, man. Like that guy just knows where they're at.
Yeah.
Just took us into that spot, and all right, let's go see what we can find. And,
yeah, he's a stud for sure.
Oh man. So yeah, this guy popped his, and then I don't know, 2 hours later we had another one on the ground.
Nice. And, good.
Man, like I was excited for my first buck, and I can guarantee I was just as excited for this one. Like you said on your last one, right? That feeling never changes. It could be your first buck or your 300th buck, and you're still just so excited.
That's the truth, man. It doesn't change. I don't think. I mean, you get a little bit used to dealing with the animal after the fact, but the whole process up into that point is always kind of the same, at least for me anyways.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Until you pull the trigger. Then after you pull the trigger, it's okay, well, time to get to work, right?
Yeah. You know what's ahead of you after you've done a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. And no, man, it was great. We popped up below him, and I think he was with like 6 or 7 other deer. He had a few does and a couple other little bucks with him, and a couple of them were bedded down, and he was standing. But where he was standing dead broadside to us, but he had another little buck bedded like right behind him. And I remember shouldering my rifle and Hart right away. Okay, don't shoot him because there's another buck behind him. He'll shoot that buck too with what you're shooting. I said, don't worry. I know. I could see it. Don't worry. It's all good. And so we waited, and he finally made a move. But he decided to turn and start going uphill from us. And he did that typical muley move where he gets his back to you, then he turns and looks directly over his butt at you, right? And as soon as he did that, I just remember thinking to myself, like, okay, turn, or like, you have to turn because I can't shoot you now. Just turn. And he finally, it was almost like he got impatient with the other deer that were with him because they weren't moving. They were all happy with where they were at. And
frozen in time.
It was like he just got impatient and he slightly turned. And it was almost like he turned to say, like, hey, guys, it's time to leave. Let's go. Yeah. And when he made that turn, Hart went, if you could put one in there, Doyle, I would. And it was literally, he finished that sentence, I squeezed the trigger.
It's so good to have a guy like that over your shoulder on some of these, eh? Like when you get in on like a big mature deer like that, that's one of those things that you can kind of come apart at the seams a little bit with your plan, right?
Oh, definitely. Like it's the biggest, like that buck's the biggest buck I've ever seen in person.
Yeah. He's a nice buck for sure.
Man, like there was a point where I don't usually get excited when I'm getting ready to shoot. I tend to be fairly calm during that. I don't get super excited until after I've pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
But man, that buck, look at it, when I got him in the scope, like you just lose control. You just start shaking. It's just like, oh, like that's the biggest thing I've ever seen.
You start crying.
And I had to stop and like put my head down and just kind of like count to 10 and take a big deep breath and get it together. Let's
get your shit together, Doyle. Let's do this.
Yeah, get your shit together. Let's just do this. Get it done.
Oh yeah.
And it was real funny because like shot him and he reared up and he flipped over on his back.
Yeah.
And we knew he was done. And I remember watching it through the scope. I just remember watching him kick up and roll back over on his back and hit the ground. And he didn't even like kick his legs. It was just he was just done.
Yeah,
right?
Just stone dead. That's what you want. That's the way to do it.
Oh, exactly right. So he couldn't be any happier. And I remember I just buried my face in my hands and just started making just like oh man, like.
That's
trying
awesome.
to hold back tears. Like, oh man, I can't cry in front of these assholes. They'll never let me live it down.
Oh yeah. No, if you cry in front of some of our buddies, you'll never hear the end of it. So it's good you kept your composure a bit there.
But man,
nice.
it was real funny. And afterwards, we're everybody, everybody's high fiving, and we're all hugging each other like, it's great, big buck down, like everybody's having a laugh and talking about it. And we start hiking up the hill to find this thing, and you can't find him.
Oh yeah.
So we're walking up and I'm going, well, there's no way he got up and like took off. And like for some reason, everybody in the excitement, we all forgot where he was standing, and he ended up being about 50 yards over from where we were looking. And we Hart finally spotted him. And we're just way too far over on the hill. He's over there.
It's tough.
Felt like a bunch of rookies, but
it's tough, man. When when we were in Alberta, Wasey flagged me into the wrong, like little, I don't know what you call it, coulee, gully, whatever, hoodoo. He was flagging me in from across the basin, and I'm like looking, I'm like, he's saying to keep going. I feel like they're right here, and Chad's looking at me like, I think we're going too far. I'm like, no, Wasey knows. And we weren't accounting for the fact that his spotter was flattening everything out.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. We were way off. We walked into one that had about 30 deer in it, and not the ones we were trying to kill. So that was good. So that's cool, man. That was the big deer of 2020 for sure. That was at the tail end of your guys' little alpine trip that you did, eh?
Yeah, man. That was a great trip. It was a first for me. It's a totally different style of hunting than what I did growing up.
And that's kind of the direction you're trying to go. You're trying to get more into the backcountry stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's just not like when you were talking to Father Aham. It's the truck hunting thing. There's nothing wrong with it. Hey, man, if you can go out and you can find a buck and shoot a buck from the road, great, power to you. It's perfectly legal. Yep. You do your thing, right? I've done it. My family's done it forever and a day. So it's just how it was growing up.
Yeah.
But being as where I live now and doing that type of hunting for as long as I did, the last few years that I hunted with a group of guys, they always wanted to go to the same spot, and like I'd walk out just about every year. I'd walk out with a spike, or I'd walk out with a deer, but it was nothing special, right? And I just got tired of it. And I wanted to go start exploring different areas and trying different things. And those guys were just not interested in doing that. So we kind of had a bit of a falling out. And I just stopped hunting with them.
Yeah, I get it. I get it for sure. I noticed you've had pretty serious like adventure lust lately. Every once in a while, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to go hike this trail in this lake. And you did it with one of your boys there. In the summer. Yeah. And man, that looked like a wicked trip too.
Oh man, it was great. A buddy of mine from work told me about it, and he's a kind of set me up a little bit. He goes, oh yeah, it's not that bad. You'll get in there, no problem. Like it's a super easy hike. And he definitely baited me on that one. We get in there, we're about halfway in.
I remember looking at the maps when you told me where you were going, and I was like, you were like, oh, do you want to come? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I'm not hiking that far unless I can kill like a goat, a sheep, or an elk. That was crazy.
Yeah. You know what though, man? It was quite a hike getting in there, but like totally worth it. You get up to that lake, and it's just mind blowing. That water is crystal clear. Like you can sit there and just watch the fish swim by. Like it's that clear. It's crazy.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And then you can continue on like further back and get up like right up into the peaks of the mountains and that, and like it's real cool country. It's definitely something that I was real happy I went and checked out and didn't just kind of like, I'll get to it, right? You know?
Yeah. I mean that's half the thing is actually getting out and getting into these places, right? It's the first step is getting up and doing it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's also the hardest step, right?
Yeah, totally.
So
that alpine hunt, like, man, that was some wild. Getting up into there was like that hike that we were just talking about that me and Daniel did. Yeah, this alpine hunt that we went on, like it was that hike times like 5. It was just crazy. Yeah. I mean, the snow didn't help hiking through.
I was just going to say, you guys might have been at a little bit of a handicap when you decided to go.
Yeah, I would say so. We got up there and we were headed up and it just started coming down. And everybody kind of looked at each other and, you know, it was kind of just that silent, like, are we really doing this? And nobody wants to be that guy. Like, I don't know if we should do this.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we went, and I'm pretty sure Hart was just trying to kill us. I think he was just trying to get back at everybody for all the trash talk.
Yeah. Hart has that ability too. He's one of those guys that can walk your feet to the nub, you know?
Oh, it's unreal. Like he was easily 200 to 300 yards ahead of me and Sky the entire trip. Like, it was just nuts. Like we'd stop for a break and we'd sit there for 5-10 minutes. He'd be like, "Okay, you guys ready to go?" Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, let's get going. And in the blink of an eye,
might as well.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, to the point where he was on, I think, episode 4 talking about that stone sheep hunt. And I had a couple guys message me and call me after I published that episode. And they were like, is that guy talking about killing a stone sheep with his bow? Like it's no big deal. And I'm like, yep, that's Hart. Yep. Yeah. No big deal. Guy can do anything. Like no big deal.
Oh, like, I believe it. Like the guy, I don't even know what to tell you about that guy. It's pretty crazy to just watch that dude literally like run up a mountain.
Oh yeah.
Like it was just maddening. You think you're catching up and you look up and no, he's like 300 yards ahead of me. And I was gonna be the little train that could and just I think I can the whole way up.
I mean, that's the way. That's like, I mean, you just can't quit in those situations. There's no option to quit. You just keep it going, right?
No, yeah, definitely not. Man, I was like we had our struggles, but man, everybody did real good on that trip. And it was a great time. It was a great time. We got up there and getting up the next morning, sitting there watching those sheep. And that's the first for me. I've seen sheep, obviously, driving through the canyon and all that, but never have I been out on a hunt and had the opportunity to sit there and watch them spar and chase the ewes around and it was a real cool experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And that's what it's all about, right? Like we were talking earlier.
Yeah, man. That's those adventures are. I mean, that's what you remember too. It's not so much always the kill as much as it is the adventure that you go on. You know, I mean, there's oftentimes you go out and you decide to not pull the trigger, and it's still a successful trip, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And it's trips like that too, where you suffer, and you know, it's at the time it's not a whole lot of fun, and you're hurting, and you know, you're trudging through a foot of snow and all that. But it's those trips that, you know, like right now we're talking about it and we're having a laugh and like, oh man, I was damn miserable. I was so damn miserable and blah blah. And but you know, you're saying it with a big smile on your face.
Oh yeah. There's a saying in my house where it's like, at the time, the higher the suffer factor is, the better the memories are later, you know? So like when you pile your entire family and 3 kids into a car and drive to Disneyland, the suffer factor is super high. But after the fact, the memories are really good and worth it, you know, when everybody had the flu on the way home or whatever. So
yeah.
Yeah. So are you chomping at the bit to do more of these kind of more intense backcountry backpack style hunts?
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody, the 4 of us that went on that Alpine trip, with Foth hurting his knee and that, and you know, and we made the right decision. Like, hey, you know, we're not willing to risk you either, like, you know, possibly permanently screwing yourself up just to get a hunt in, you know. So let's get out of here, and you know, we'll hit it next year. And I think everybody's chomping at the bit to get back up there. I know I am. I know Foth was saying that he is, no matter what, he's heading back up in there, and he's going to be there this year. And I'm pretty much on the same wavelength. And I really, really want to go explore that country and check it out.
Yeah, it's cool country back there for sure. So that's kind of the big 2021 trip for you then, hey?
I think so, depending on draws and stuff like that, right? So
yeah.
I don't know if I'll be putting in for any draws that'll interfere with that trip. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's always, I mean, that's always like a point of interest on these things. If you're going to pull a tag, you know, because you never know in BC. So
yeah. It's a little bit of a screwy system, right? So
yeah, I don't know. It's good and bad, you know, like some of these places with the point creep and stuff, it doesn't matter. You know that you'll never draw in your lifetime, and that's it. Yeah, at least this way, there's a little bit of a glimmer, you know. I think it's like, I don't know, it's like some units in Arizona. I mean, don't quote me on that, I'm not American, but some of these big trophy units in Arizona and like I think Utah too, there's units that like doesn't matter if you've been putting in for, you know, 5 or 10 years already, the point creep's so bad that you'll never actually draw the tag.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, that's the one upside to the lottery thing is you always kind of have a hope and a prayer to draw, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess you got a gambler's chance no matter what, right? So.
Yeah, cool. So 2021, you're going to try to get after another one of these backpack hunts. So did you have any big takeaways from that trip with Hart and all the boys there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Gear wise, I definitely gotta be upgrading some of my gear. Mostly rain gear. I'm definitely more interested in like rain gear for sure. Yeah. I kind of cheaped out on the rain gear this year and didn't really pay for it, but was like, okay, like if I was thought to myself when we got up top, like we're going to be up here for, you know, 5-6 days and it was coming down, this would not be adequate and I'd just be miserable the whole time. Right.
Yeah. So, you'd be living in your tent.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not what I want to be doing. So
no,
definitely upgrading rain gear and some other little things. And then, I'm just going to probably try and shave a few pounds and
that's always a good one.
I'm not a small man to begin with. So
you're a big boy for sure.
So yeah, shave a few pounds, make that pack hopefully a little lighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And so I guess the other question for you is, are we gonna get that bow out soon or what?
Oh man, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Big Sky there, he's offered me some extra arrows that he's got built.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have, because me and him are very similar draw lengths and all that.
Yeah, you both have a 39.5-inch draw or something stupid.
Yeah, my bow looks kind of funny in my hand considering how big I am. It's pretty funny. I see pictures of me shooting it, and I just kind of have to laugh. It looks like I'm shooting a child's bow or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. No, it would be cool to get you out in these blacktail woods or something like that, chasing some critters with that thing, man.
Oh, definitely. I think me and Sky might even me and Sky kind of had a quick little chat about September, maybe possibly taking a week and just kind of tying in the tail end of archery into rifle for elk.
Oh, nice.
And,
yeah.
So go in for 2-3 days of the last 2-3 days of the archery season. See if we can't make something happen. And
I'll send you all of Hart's pins.
Perfect.
Yeah, sneak right in there.
Send me all the coordinates.
Yes. I'll send you his pins. Just stay away from my pins.
Perfect. I'll look for his trail cams and give him the old, hey, you're number one as we walk by.
Yeah, you're number one, Hart. Yeah. No, that's a fun pursuit, man. Like chasing those southern BC elk they're super tough, and figuring out an area. I mean, what am I 3 years into my spot, and it's like sure I've got into it with elk, but man, they're tough and they beat the hell out of you. So I'd be excited to see you guys get in there and burn some boot leather and figure out what the elk are doing wherever you guys are, because they're in there, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're in there. And when it comes to archery thing, I think I think it'll be probably Sky more than likely shooting the bow on that one. I'll just hang out and I'll call or whatever I need to do, and
pack meat.
I'll let him send an arrow to Jesus, and I'll just kind of hang out in the background.
Nice work, Sky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of those things that if you're not feeling 100% confident in your level of practice or proficiency at that point, I don't think you should be sending it, so
I totally agree. And it's something that I never even considered or ever even thought that I would be pursuing. I was never really even somewhat interested in archery, and then all you guys started doing it, and peer pressure, so I figured, screw it, I'll buy a bow and try it out, see what all these guys are talking about. And it's a good time. It's a great time. I can't wait till we start doing our little 3D shoots again. And this COVID crap has really thrown a wrench in our way we do things.
Yeah, it sure ruins the social time, doesn't it? And it would be nice to get some arrows downrange with your buddies instead of by yourself. But
yeah, definitely. I don't know how they feel about me shooting my bow in my backyard in White Rock. I have yet to have anybody complain or have a cop show up at my driveway. So
just make sure they're not ending up in the neighbor's kitchen or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't punched one through the neighbor's house yet, so maybe on that day something might happen. But
yeah, you might get a knock on the door then, sir.
Yeah, does this belong to you? Nope. Never seen it before in my life.
Never seen it. Yeah. Cool, man. So, I mean, where else do you see stuff going for you? I guess you're going to really focus on that mule deer hunt with the boys and kind of take things from there, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know about this year, but I definitely plan on putting in for some of those goats and sheep.
Yep.
After seeing those sheep on that alpine trip, I kind of got the itch a little bit. Man, those are some pretty cool critters. And,
oh man, though, I often feel like some of those LEH units that the sheep are in that you're hunting mule deer in, I do feel like they give you a little bit of false hope,
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like after seeing that group, like you get that little bit of confidence. Like, oh yeah, they're probably in here all the time. Blah blah. Blah. And then of course, you get that draw, and you go in there and you don't see one.
Yeah, or they're not down low in the valley bottom where you're able to hunt them. They're up in the cliffs and stuff, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. It'd be nice to draw one of those, and hopefully that happens for you. I'd love to tag along and help you out as much as I can.
Oh, absolutely. I'm of the mindset, the more the merrier, right? And and at the end of the day, if you end up cutting that tag, the more guys you got with you, the less weight you got to pack out too, right?
Yeah. That's the one issue with how I normally hunt, right? It's a real problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, every day when you're out in the milk woods, man, I'm sitting at work and I'm just like checking my phone, like, waiting for the call,
which is all of September. I mean, fortunately, me and Chad hooked up there, and he kind of has a similar schedule to me a little bit, right? So that's worked out well. I kind of gained a good buddy and a hunting partner in the last couple of years here, which is cool. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that boy, he definitely seems to know what he's doing. Like, I don't think I've met Chad.
Probably not. I mean, most of the time that he and I hang out is in the bush.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's hard as nails. I mean, what did he tear, an ACL or an MCL when we were packing salt into a spot, and like he didn't complain until we were in the truck. So it was real bad. Yeah.
Well, hey, pack of salt. You got a mission. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But like this year, I'll have a bit more, wiggle room here now, and it'll be great. It's be one of those years where I can finally just kind of like decide to, I'm gonna take Friday, Monday, and see ya. Right?
Yeah.
So it'll be nice. And, real excited. And hopefully, have to buy a bigger freezer this year.
Yeah. Hopefully, we check in with you mid-September, and you've got a deer or something on the ground by then.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
That'd be good. Okay, well let's save some more of this stuff for the next one. I know we're gonna do one of these with our whole text message, kind of our whole group there at the same time, and I don't know how that's going to be to edit, but hopefully it goes smooth. So we'll hear back from you then. And yeah, man, thanks so much for doing this with me. It was fun.
Oh, no worries, man. It was a great time.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram @WildernessLocals or at our website at wildernesslocals.com.